and we are going to be moving on to Australia now. So,
Yay, Nell. Okay. Thanks, Stacey.
all right, bye.
Bye.
Um, so we are now doing our next workshop. See, no break, guys. Sorry, we're on the home stretch, so we're going to be plugging right through. So this is Getting to Zero in Australia. Nell Thompson will be presenting with us today. Nell is the coordinator of the Australian National Getting to Zero program, where her background in shelter, pound operations and management, and animal health is a great resource for councils, shelters, and all groups and individuals involved in the program. Nell has been on the Australian Institute of Animal Management Committee since 2013, and she's currently the secretary and has worked in the animal welfare, care, and veterinary sectors for over 20 years. Nell is passionate about improving outcomes for pets who enter the shelter and pound systems and strongly believes that the best results occur when animal welfare and animal management are working together towards the same goals. So I would like to welcome Nell. Nell, are you on the line?
I am. Good morning, everybody.
Hello. You have the show.
All right. Well, it's fantastic to be here. Thanks very much, Stacey. And hi, Miles. Great to hear your voice again. Okay, so we are going to move on to, here we go. All right. We are going to move on to the story of Getting to Zero in Australia. My name is Nell Thompson. As Stacey said, I'm the coordinator of the Australian National Getting to Zero program, and my background is in pound and shelter management and in the veterinary industry. So I'm really excited to be asked to present today, and I hope you guys can hang in there for the last couple of sessions. I hope you can understand my accent. I've been told at times that I need a translator, but I'll do my best for you today. But I just wanted to talk to you about the reasons why I do what I do, and probably why you do what you do too. So all of the pets in our family have required some kind of assistance or support to get them out of what may have been a hopeless situation. This is Ms. T, her full name being Ms. T Grandma Flash, and she is around 1,000 years old with multiple complicated medical problems, and she was found living rough. Pudding, who's the little brindle dog there, was unclaimed at a regional pound, and Tora, the black dog there, her owners went overseas. This is Rory, and it's hot weather here, so he's very sun smart, and Pete, and they were both ex-race horses. But the point is that shelter pets are our pets. They're all the same. So a bit about where I come from and some interesting stats to compare our countries. Sorry, okay. So Australia's population is less than 1/10 of the United States. And we have 6 states and 2 territories compared to 50 in the United States. We're the world's largest island, which means that we're isolated. And the number of owned dogs in Australia is 5% of the number in the USA, and owned cats is 4%. The land mass is about 80% of the USA, and we have 3 levels of government, resulting in no consistency in laws at any level. Aussies are just as likely to own a pet as Americans. And it's estimated that 1/4 of the number of shelter pets are euthanised in Australia compared to the States. However, per head of population, we actually kill more. And we take in less to our shelters and pounds. So essentially, you don't want to be a cat in either country. However, you will be worse off if you're a cat in Australia. At the 5th National G2Z Summit held in 2013, 5th year vet student Diana Chua presented her findings on preliminary data collected from animal welfare organisations and local governments across Australia. Lots of data was missing due to incomplete responses to requests for that data. Plus, we don't have any mandatory requirement to provide anyone with our stats. But the average was that around 20% of dogs and 60% of cats were euthanized annually. Of course, this varies wildly across communities, with some performing much higher and some much lower. But for me, this lack of stats is a big issue. It makes it really difficult to know where we're headed and assess where we're going. Without good stats, it's difficult to put the case forward that change needs to happen.
The Animal Welfare League has been in the community for over 50 years. It started in 1959. Since then, we have opened 3 rehoming centres in southeast Queensland and 2 community vet clinics.
We have actually achieved one of the highest rehoming rates for a shelter in Australia, and also, especially here on the Gold Coast, for a city of 600,000, we've achieved zero euthanizing of healthy dogs and cats, which is a first for Australia.
At the Animal Welfare League, we care for predominantly cats and dogs. We do occasionally get pigs, sheep, goats, poultry, birds and guinea pigs.
What we want to achieve is that every animal that's born will have a loving home and family to go to.
And when an animal arrives at the shelter, we medically care for it. If it hasn't been desexed, we desex it, microchip, vaccinate and worm the animal. Then it goes through a behaviour temperament testing, and that ensures that the animal will be suitable for rehoming.
Our big goal that we've been working for and striving towards is that every dog and cat born will have a family to love and care for it for the entirety of its life.
When an animal is put up for adoption, it's there until it finds a home. We don't have a time limit on our animals, which is really something we're proud of at the Animal Welfare League. We've developed a model called Getting to Zero with councils throughout Australia to help put a stop to unnecessary killing in pounds and shelters.
So people can rest assured with money that they donate to our charity that only 9% is spent on administration costs, with 91% of their donation going directly to the care of the animals, which the national average is around 22% for similar sized organisations.
We receive our funding through the community. As a non-government funded organisation, we really rely on the community support and local businesses to continue the life-saving work that we do.
Formby Broado Village is an automotive dealership based here on the Gold Coast. We've got 4 dealerships, we've got 350 staff, we've got 8 different brands. We made a decision in December of last year to support the Animal Welfare League of Queensland. We contribute $20 for every car we retail, which has worked out so far. We're on target to raise over $75,000 to $80,000 to the Animal Welfare League this year, which is tremendous. I've been out to the facility. It has a fantastic vibe. The staff are great, the facilities are great. They're doing tremendous things for animals and giving a voice to animals, I guess, that don't normally have one here in the community.
What a fantastic housemate Delilah was, huh? Let's take a look back at Delilah's time in the Big Brother house.
Delilah's been a fantastic ambassador for the Animal Welfare League of Queensland. When she was on Big Brother, I think all of Australia fell in love with her. And she was just a typical example of the many dogs that we have here at the shelter and pounds actually across Australia. It was just great to have the opportunity to promote to the public that shelter pets make just the best pets.
Look, I'd recommend anybody to come down and get involved with AWL. It's a great therapy. Terrific when you see them when they've actually been adopted and they've been taken away, and that's the highlight. You get attached to them, but it's great to see them go.
Our website is a great source of information, so if you want to have a look at our website, it will show all the events and the functions that we might have coming up, and if you ever have any ideas on how we can raise some more funds here at the Animal Welfare League, we would love to hear from you as well.
If we weren't here, they'd all be euthanised. We're making a difference for these ones. We're making a difference for a lot of them that are going out to new homes. And that's what keeps us going. It's probably the best job in the world when you know you're making a difference.
Since our inception in 1959, we have rehomed over 100,000 animals into families here on the Gold Coast. I would not like to think where those animals would be if the Animal Welfare League wasn't here.
With your continued support, we will always be here ensuring companion animals have a forever home.
So it's the organisation that developed and delivers the G2Z program. So this is the model that we've been using here in Australia, and the AWLQ are a state-based animal welfare organisation with shelters, etc., but they've had an eye on the bigger picture since 1959. So they're based in the Gold Coast area of Queensland, and they take on around 19,000 animals across 4 locations. So the video basically runs through what they do, you know, open intake, adoptions, no animals ever refused, all that sort of stuff. And basically the upshot of it was that 10 plus years ago, the numbers coming in were really high, and we'll go over that in another slide. But after implementing this G2Z program, they've seen obviously great changes, which is why we persist with it. So moving on from there to talk to you about the City of Gold Coast, where the head office of AWLQ is located. The AWLQ are contracted to manage the 2 council pounds for the City of Gold Coast. So they also operate in other municipalities in that region, but we're going to primarily talk about the City of Gold Coast today. So all of the unclaimed strays are transferred to AWLQ, and they also accept all surrenders directly. So the strays actually go into the council pound, which is next door, but AWLQ operate it, but the surrenders come straight to the shelter itself. So there are no other shelters in the city, and essentially this represented a great opportunity to work on developing solutions to prevent euthanasia of all healthy and treatable animals in a whole city. So it enabled us to get a really good picture of what was going on in one place, and that's how the model was developed. So the City of Gold Coast, to give you a picture on the map, it's located in southeast Queensland, about 78 kilometres south of Brisbane. And it has a population of around 600,000 as of 2016, a land area of 1,300 kilometres squared, and a diverse variety of suburbs. So really going from high income holiday rental areas along the coast to low income suburban and rural fringe areas further inland. So it's an interesting mix of the two. And the Pound and Shelter were taking in 10,000 cats and dogs in the city in 2001, 2002. So this is where it all began, and where the cogs started turning in people's minds, saying, okay, this obviously isn't good. What can we do to affect some change? So our national history of organised life-saving programs is much shorter than in other countries, such as the United States, but organisations have been implementing life-saving solutions for many years. AWLQ, as I said, operate in 4 different municipalities, but we're going to just talk about City of Gold Coast story today, or mainly. But this is how things developed over a timeline. This community clinic provides low-cost services with a special focus on spay and neuter. And in 2002, the community were consulted about possible solutions for the 4,000 cats and dogs being euthanised, which was about 57% of cats and 30% of dogs. So the decision wasn't made just from, decisions made within the organisation. It was taken out to the community and say, well, what are your thoughts? Are you aware of this problem? What would you like to see done about this problem? And of course, most people were not aware of it. The National Desexing Network, or NDN, and National Desexing Month were developed in 2004, and the NDN is the other national program that this organisation delivers. So it's like the sister program to G2Z. It works to connect those in need with discounted desexing services and increase promotion of the need for desexing. The stakeholder coalition was made up of cat breeder groups, local government, state government, animal welfare, wildlife groups, and local vet clinic representatives. Basically, everyone who was interested in the way that cats were managed. And this conference was originally called the National Summit to End Companion Animal Population, but we now call it the National G2Z Summit, and we'll be holding it again in September 2019. And then we opened another community clinic. So the first major milestone was that in 2009, no healthy, sociable dog or cat was euthanised in Gold Coast City, and the numbers of treatable pets that were euthanised was reduced. Now, what is healthy and treatable? Well, hold that thought, because we'll talk about that, but this was the first milestone after implementing the G2Z strategies, which we'll go through. Because it seemed like these initiatives were working, we thought they were worth sharing and duplicating. So the G2Z model was formalised and launched publicly in 2011. And in 2012, a dedicated coordinator, me, came on board. So we were now able to develop the program further as there were dedicated resources available, such as communications via e-news, social media, etc., which increase interaction with those in the sector. The program brings people together and drives progress. So success happened. 2016, 2017, our financial years run end of June to start of July. So no healthy or treatable cat or dog is euthanised in the city of Gold Coast. So it was the first city in Australia to get to zero. And 91% of all lost or surrendered cats and dogs were reclaimed or rehomed in the Gold Coast city in this year. So this table shows where we came from. 2001, 32% of dogs were being killed and 57% of cats in 2001, compared to 8% of dogs and 8% of cats in 16-17. Like many places, cats are our biggest problem, hence our work on the Australian Cat Action Plan, which I'll also talk about a bit further down the track. But because cats are such an issue for us, the kitten numbers become a great key indicator. So basically, this graph is showing the income numbers of kittens going down over the years, financial years 05-06 to 13-14. The reclaim numbers staying the same, and rehoming numbers drop when there are less kittens, and youth numbers have also dropped accordingly. So we think this is mainly due to the low and no cost desexing programs that we've been running throughout this time. And this is what it looks like today.
I can remember being in the office on days when we were just so run off our feet with animals coming in, going out. One day we had 60 cats and kittens coming in. So it was very, very full on. There seemed to be animals everywhere. The cages, cat cages and the dog pens were always full to the brim. We even had cats in offices, in little crates. I even remember the boardroom at one stage being full of animals because we literally had no room to accommodate.
The kennels were full all the time. We took a lot of animals from the external pounds, and at that time, if you were a black dog or a cattle dog and there was already a number of those in the adoption pens, you didn't really get a chance.
Being involved with the operations of the shelter, there'd be days there, you know, when the vet was here to do the euthanizing, where there were animals just lined up to, you know, to be euthanized. There was just so many animals coming through and not enough homes for them. So the amount of animals coming through was really horrendous. So that was the situation back then. It was
Because Animal Welfare League of Queensland manages all stray animals for the Gold Coast City Council and takes in most of the surrenders, we felt we were in a unique position to work on getting solutions for a whole city. So we gathered the data and we actually went to the public through the newspaper and actually told them how many animals were being euthanised at that stage, 4,000 cats and dogs on the Gold Coast, and was that acceptable? Which of course they responded that it was not acceptable. So then we went to all the stakeholder groups and asked them would they come along and be part of developing and implementing solutions.
Well, I started in 1977 and in the last 22 years I was in charge of the animal management section. I saw myself as being able to assist the program in trying to identify some of the rocks that might pop up from time to time on the road with legislation or politics and things that you had to navigate through to try and get this thing successful.
There are enough animals in this world who seem to be looking for homes and they can't find them. So if we can get to a policy where we're not producing the excess animals, but we're finding homes for all the healthy ones, then I think we're doing a good thing.
I think it's always a challenge to convince other welfare groups, but in particular local government council-run pounds, that they don't have to be focused on euthanasia.
I've been involved with the Animal Welfare League of Queensland Coalition since 2004 when it began, and I represented the Queensland Feline Association as well as later on the Australian Cat Federation. Well, during that time we've developed a responsible breeder program where we try to encourage people to desex their pedigree cats before they're sold, and many breeders have come on board to do that, and also the Gold Coast City Council have a law now that breeders on the Gold Coast must desex their cats.
By 2009, we realised our strategies were starting to work because we finally reached zero euthanasia of all healthy and sociable cats and dogs, and we were well on the way to saving a lot of the treatable animals as well.
Getting to zero, as you know, as everyone probably knows, is just not one solution. And the desexing program, the microchipping programs, all the other programs are all attributed to the outcome. And the association with the local veterinary clinics and things like that with the desexing was really done well, and we were able to keep everyone pretty well happy, including the pet owners, which was a big thing.
Yeah, so in our community clinic, the philosophy there is that, you know, any client that comes in with a pet that needs treatment, we feel that the pet should receive that treatment without the owner having to stress and having to euthanize because they've got no money to treat their pet. So to that end, we do offer payment plans, and sometimes we do charity so that animals that are treatable won't have to be euthanized just because the owners can't afford their treatment.
The more people you can educate and get the message out, the better, and not just to school age people, which is what everybody thinks of when you think of education, but definitely to the wider community. And over the years, we've developed some amazing programs that sort of extend far beyond school age years, so from prep through to TAFE groups, and even further on beyond that, educating adults as well about responsible animal care, and certainly offering people the opportunity to come into the shelters and get that hands-on experience that they need.
We had a very basic foster care program at the time, which I then took over, and we increased from 10 carers to over 200. It obviously allowed us the ability to foster animals that weren't old enough to go up for adoption, because that was always a big thing. Where do we put a 4-week-old kitten for 4 weeks? So it allowed us to do that. It allowed us to foster out sick animals that we weren't able to adopt. So that was a big move for us.
Some of the rehoming strategies that we have, we focus more on our Facebook social media, and the staff really work hard to make their adoption summaries more personable. We work with our photographers to engage the photos to match what our adoption summaries say about the animals.
It's not going to be an easy journey, but it can be done with determination and passion.
We don't have easy days here. Every day is a push. So we have to all be on our game every day, really, to make it happen.
I think that it has to be a community approach. It's not just something that one person can do alone, and everybody has to be on board. The importance of having the local councils involved, anyone really who has an interest in the animal industry as a whole, it's important for them to get on board.
Hearing about the goals of the Getting to Zero initiative really drove me to want to work for an organisation that cared so much about the welfare of the animals.
I think the Getting to Zero is a journey, and I think the ultimate goal is that every single dog and cat born has a loving home to go to. That has to be the ultimate.
But we believe that our key goals satisfy both animal management or animal control and animal welfare requirements. So goal 1, to achieve zero euthanasia of all stray and surrendered healthy and treatable cats and dogs in a whole city or municipality, and to develop and offer a strategic model applicable to all municipalities across Australia. And thinking about these goals and how all of this works together, do you think of yourself as animal management or animal control or animal welfare? Do you feel that these terms used are good representations of the work that you undertake, particularly for those in what we would call animal welfare? I actually think that there's probably a better term, or potentially a better term to use, and I'd be really interested to hear other people's thoughts on that. So at the end of this presentation, I'll give you my contact details, and if you have any fabulous ideas, please let me know, because I am on the hunt for a better term for what we do. But G to Z is a replicable strategic model. So every community is different and things will need to be tweaked to suit, but essentially the model negates the need to reinvent the wheel. By providing a roadmap, we can save organisations time and resources and work with them side by side to implement the solutions that will save lives. And as well as our key goals, we have guiding principles. So these are the principles that we work to. Everyone is involved. It's a whole community change model. And these issues are not the sole responsibility of not-for-profits or local government. The issues relate to and impact on almost everyone in the community in one way or another. It makes sense that the whole community works together to share the load. Now, back to the what is healthy and treatable. Think about what you can and would do for the pets that live in your home today. These charts show our results for the financial year 09-10 when AWLQ first implemented the healthy treatable versus not treatable categories, and we saw that 90% was the benchmark. Simultaneously, organisations and communities in the USA were achieving 90% save rates. And of course, things have got even better from there. Our stats confirmed that 90% of all incoming stray and surrenders in a whole city were healthy or treatable, although this will continue to be a challenge for us with cats. So this means that those pets euthanised are untreatable due to irredeemable suffering or that are severe risk to the community, despite efforts to treat and or rehabilitate. So healthy and treatable is the unweaned kittens, the crossbreed medium to large subadult dogs whose behaviour is a bit of a challenge, cats with flu or ringworm, pregnant or recently queened cats, shy and unsocialised cats, all breeds. We do not support breed-specific legislation. Dogs with behavioural issues such as resource guarding, reactivity to other dogs or that are shy and fearful. Medical issues such as luxating patellas, skin issues, age-related diseases, dental problems, etc. These are all issues that we would deal with in a family pet, and that is what these animals are. So let's move on to how the program itself works. We have a set of key elements that are essential to the implementation of the principles of the program. We want to come at the problem from a range of fronts and cover all the bases. So how can we prevent abandonment? Is it by providing low or no cost dissecting services so that there are not more pets in the community than can be sustained? Is it by supporting the community to be the pet owners we need them to be? We also need the shelter and pound to be providing proactive and progressive rehoming and veterinary services to the pets in their care in order to maximise live release rates. So the community vet clinic provides access to affordable vet care to ensure no animal has to lose its life due to financial disadvantage. Like a human public hospital where no insurance is required, and I believe we have a vastly different situation here to you guys in terms of healthcare, so I apologise for that. But we need to identify the barriers to owners accessing vet care. Is it money, knowledge? Is it physical ability? Is it cultural beliefs? What are the most important services that you can provide that will maximise positive outcomes? Is it microchipping to ensure lost pets can be returned home? Is it dissecting services to ensure less pets are breeding? Is it trauma vet care? Is it preventative health care, such as vaccinations? Does your community have a problem with, say, parvovirus or distemper or any other life-threatening diseases? And transport support might need to be provided so that owners can access services. The National Dissecting Network that I mentioned earlier manages this cooperative dissecting program free of charge for councils to help them implement it successfully, and liaises with vets to encourage them to participate. So the owners pay a small amount and are further helped by the NDN if necessary, and vets receive a set fee to cover their costs. Councils can then budget an annual amount to pay the gap as a subsidy. We need the community working together on solutions and sharing and combining resources, going back to that issue of no one entity in the community can manage this problem on their own. So we can do this by developing coalitions of stakeholders, which include state and local government representatives, breeders, pet stores, wildlife groups, shelter and rescue groups. And this coalition can work to educate people on the euthanasia situation in their community. It can also work to have appropriate legislation implemented, such as breeder permit systems and foster care friendly legislation. Really, it's amazing what issues can be worked out once you've got everyone around the table. Often individuals and groups agree on more than they ever anticipated and just haven't had a chance to meet and talk before. So it's important to focus on the issues that everyone agrees on first so that you can get some wins on the board, and of course always pick your battles. So this was one of the major initiatives that came out of the stakeholder coalition on the Gold Coast. Breeder permit legislation has been implemented, which essentially requires anyone who breeds a litter of dogs or cats to have acquired a permit from the local government authorities. Acquiring the permit requires being inspected against a set of mandatory standards, paying a fee which enables the program to be sustainable, and being given a number which needs to be used when advertising. So this enables the people buying the pet to know that the breeders comply with the standards. If you're discovered to be breeding without a permit, you're required to either apply for the permit or have your pet dissected, and there is a subsidised program available to allow people to comply with this. If you're going to implement any of these kinds of types of legislation, support must be provided to enable people to comply. The next one is owner education, legislation and support. So this means that animal management or control departments offer return to owner services rather than impound, and efficient systems are provided to match lost and found. Plus, advice and supports provided for those owners who are struggling with pets that are straying. Shelters and pounds provide pre-surrender interviews to provide alternatives to surrender, and post-adoption support to ensure newly adopted pets stay in the home. And all animal sellers provide comprehensive information. And we use the Dissect, Identify, Train and Keep Safe mantra. So all information provided is contained within that kind of mantra, plus support for pet owners, including containment and early age desexing. And landlords and real estate agents provide pet-friendly accommodation options. Now, this is a big issue for us, as most rental properties don't allow pets, as the landlords actually can't cover pet damage with their insurance. So it's an area we've been working on and will continue to work on into the future, as many pets are surrendered for housing issues. Education programs need to be provided to preschool kids right through to university students. So can we assist in development of curriculum units and provision of teacher support to develop awareness of issues around responsible pet ownership and homeless pets? Can we provide hands-on programs working with shelter animals? Can we work with universities to ensure that vet student courses include a shelter medicine component, work experience in pounds shelters, and hands-on training for early age desexing? We need those vets graduating to know about the issues facing shelter pets. We need them to be able to desex paediatrics, as in Australia, many of our older vets do not accept or agree with this procedure, and one of the reasons is their lack of experience with it. Wherever possible, we want full veterinary services to be offered to shelter and pound animals, and preferably on site. So all pets to be desexed, including early age desexing, vaccinated, etc. before rehoming. Daily health check animals, treatment of sick and injured animals, support for foster carers, after-sale health guarantee and support, training of vet students and vet support for TNR programs. We need our shelters and pounds to have rehoming programs aiming to save at least 90% of stray and surrendered pets. We need shelters to be ensuring appropriate capacity of care, so not overcrowding, having sufficient staff on duty, and having the resources to care for the pets appropriately. Is there efficient movement of pets through the system? Have fast-tracking programs been implemented? Foster programs? Are there enough vet staff to get through the work required? Are volunteers encouraged at the facility? This ensures community engagement, extra staffing resources, and there are so many benefits to this program. Are the pets in care being provided with enrichment, socialisation, training and rehabilitation? There's no point in sheltering them if they're deteriorating in health or behaviour and then becoming harder to adopt. Are shelter pets being adopted through local pet stores? Are they featuring in community events? Are they going to where the people are? Much of the community still don't feel comfortable visiting a shelter. What services are being provided to lost pets? Are they appearing on the website, on social media pages? Are volunteers distributing flyers in the community? Can the community access the facility to adopt or reclaim? Are the opening hours actually helpful for them? Are we encouraging people to visit us by being welcoming and having a positive, friendly environment? Are our marketing materials all death and doom, or are they empowering, making people feel that they can get involved? Are we providing post-adoption support? Research shows that if bonding between the newly adopted pet and owner doesn't take place in the first month, then it's likely the pet will be returned or handed on. We as humans aren't born with the knowledge required to handle animal care and management issues. So if we want them to succeed, we need to provide people with the support and ensure that they will have to contact us if things go wrong. Our community groups welcome, so school groups, senior citizens, special needs groups, special interest groups such as gardening, service or men's groups. Engagement with these community groups can provide extra resources for the organisation, as well as getting the message out there and recruitment of adopters, foster carers and the all-important donors. Are we gathering and then sharing data? Now, these two pictures are actually short videos of some positive marketing examples. So if you want to take a look at those later, they're very cute.
Hi, I'm Sue. I volunteer at the Animal Welfare League and I run the beach walk program for them. This is our gorgeous boy Pumbaa. As you can see, Pumbaa's a big boy. He's 18 months old. He's a Rottie Cross and he absolutely adores life. His favourite thing in the world is to go swimming, which he enjoys thoroughly. He gets on really well with other dogs and he's the most handsome boy I think we've got. He listens well and he looks at you for commands regularly, so it wouldn't take much to train him.
Everybody wants to be a cat because a cat's the only cat who knows where it's at.
Tell me everybody's picking up on that feline beat, 'cause everything else is obsolete.
Strictly high button shoes.
A square with a horn makes you wish you weren't born.
Every time he plays.
But with a square in the act, you can set music back
to the caveman days.
I've heard some corny birds who tried to sing.
Still, the cat's the only cat who knows how to swing.
Who wants to dick, long-head kick, stuff like that? When everybody wants to be a cat, a square with a horn makes you wish you weren't born. Every time he plays, oh, a rinky-tinky-tinky with a square in the act, you can set music back to the caveman days.
Oh, a rinky-tinky-tinky.
And this is another example. This is Project Empty Shelter, which was a campaign that AWLQ ran at the end of 2014 and every year since, which is at the end of the year is coming into our summer breeding season, particularly for cats. The local media are super supportive and the community really get involved. And in the end, 255 pets were adopted in 2014 in a weekend, which was a record for Australia. And since this time, other shelters have shot similar campaigns with great success. So the benefits of implementing the model are a sustainable reduction in abandoned and euthanized animals in pounds and shelters, reduction in the oversupply of kittens, higher proportion of desexed and identified animals, meaning fewer nuisance issues caused by undesexed and abandoned animals, a community that's more aware of overpopulation and how to prevent the problem, increased community support for departments and organisations, more job satisfaction and less workplace health and safety issues for staff in pounds and shelters. And these are benefits that the G2Z model can bring to not-for-profits and local government alike. The program is delivered nationally free of charge. We utilise Skype, email, in-person visits, whatever works best. Essentially, we provide a roadmap for organisations wanting to implement positive change and create a bridge to connect people. It's all about working together through collaboration, community coalitions and partnerships. It's not about finger pointing or trashing and blaming others. We provide online resources and audits and recommendations, practical support and consultations, and we work with and alongside those organisations and departments wanting to implement change. Participants don't have to be implementing all elements to be involved. So it's better that they get things started and then they often snowball from there. So we feel that small wins on the board are better than no wins. And now there are many pounds, shelters, rescue groups and individuals working successfully towards zero in Australia. It's hoped that these groups will contribute to G2Z as a nationally shared goal. G2Z belongs to every organisation, whether it's government or non-government, who shares a common belief that we can get to zero killing of healthy and treatable Australian surrendered cats and dogs by working on proven strategies, sharing our progress and supporting and inspiring each other to keep on track. So a major initiative and producer of change has been the national summits held every 2 years. This photo is of our international speakers for G2Z 2017, which was September last year, plus myself and our MC, and you can see Miles up there in the back row next to me. It's the only multi-day conference that brings together shelter, rescue and pound groups to learn and network from each other and international speakers. So we will hold it again in September 2019 on the Gold Coast in Queensland, and of course you're all invited, so I want to see you there. But as well as that, our focus for the last 4 years has been on developing the Australian Cat Action Plan in order to put cat management on the agenda nationally. The objectives of it are to seek agreement on the need for common legislation and to work towards consistent, effective breeding legislation and policies in line with an ethical approach that improves the well-being of domestic cats, whether that's owned, semi-owned or unowned, other animals and communities. So essentially it breaks it down into sections as to what each stakeholder can do. What are the actions that they can take that are all working in line with each other? Responsibilities for not-for-profits, for pet owners, for local government, state government, etc. And it's just trying to get everyone all on the same page, working in the same direction, and obviously with the cat's welfare in mind. So our major challenges are probably about the same as in the USA. The lack of reliable stats so that we can work out where we are, where we want to go, and if we're making any progress. A lack of trust between organisations, which makes it difficult to share stats and work together. A lack of resources across all of the sectors. And another challenge is that those organisations that are trying new things may still cop flack from some individuals or groups. Often this is because they've not implemented all of the life-saving strategies. But this pressure and criticism can, however, cause these groups to back away from the changes and those that are working in those arenas rather than push them towards it. So we definitely believe that all steps in the right direction need to be supported. So where are we going to from here? Well, AWLQ managed the Ipswich Council Pound, which is another municipality near City of Gold Coast with a population of 200,000 from 2011 to 2016, reducing cat euthanasia rates from 92% to 21% and dog euthanasia rates from 72% to 24%. They've also been managing the 2 council pounds and rehoming facilities for Brisbane, which is the capital city of Queensland, population of around 2 million, since 2014, and they're achieving similar results. In 2017, they didn't euthanize a healthy or treatable lost or surrendered cat or dog. But one of the side effects that you need to watch for when you're first working in new communities in this way is that incoming numbers often increase because the community hears about your work, trusts what you're doing with the community's pets, and then will bring them to you. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. It's an unwelcome side effect, but a common one, and one to be prepared for if you are going to work in a new community like this. But G2Z's become a normal part of the companion animal sheltering and management discussion across Australia. It's increasingly becoming adopted by other organisations, and there are more and more councils attending each time we deliver the biannual summit and workshop events. There are more councils implementing G2Z strategies in a number of other communities across the nation, and the changes are being welcomed by the residents in those communities, which is the main thing. So moving forward, well, we are working with state and local governments and each stakeholder group, so the breeders, pet industry, other animal welfare groups and shelters, wildlife groups and veterinarians to guide and encourage implementation of each of the actions recommended in the Australian Cat Action Plan. And that plan is available on our website. We've got lots of resources on the website. All of the sessions from our national summits are available free through our YouTube channel, so check them out. We're also managing the G2Z cooperative desexing programs for an increasing number of councils and working with veterinarians to ensure these programs become a permanent part of council budgets as a preventative strategy that saves money and lives. And we're working with shelter groups nationwide to develop knowledge of and implement more life-saving strategies. So I am quite early because of the lack of videos, but thanks for letting me share our story today. Please feel free to connect with me via any of these channels. Love to hear from you. Jump on our Facebook page, jump on our website, have a look, and let us know what you think about all of the resources there. And were there any questions, Stacey?
Hi, Nell. That was great. Thank you so much for the presentation. We do have a couple of questions. One person is asking if you could expand on the situation that she's heard about Australia wanting to kill 2 million community cats by 2020. Is that the case?
Yes, it is. It's not Australia, I have to say. It's our government, and I'm sure lots of you will sympathise with that. But we have a federal initiative that was launched at, when was it launched? The end of, or mid 2015, where we have a threatened species, strategy plan that is put together by government and professionals, stakeholders. And the outcome of that was that they put forward a strategy that said that they wanted to kill 2 million cats by 2020. Now, we don't even actually know that there are 2 million feral cats in Australia. We don't have the data to support that. There is some data going around, but the accuracy of it is questionable. So it's an issue that we're working on with the Australian Cat Action Plan. I don't think anybody argues that feral cats are not appropriate to be in really sensitive conservation areas, and certain strategies need to be implemented to manage that risk. The way that they're doing it with this new poison that's coming out called Curiosity, as in Curiosity killed the cat. I mean, it's just awful. That is not the way that we recommend to do it. Not only does it cause problem with other species eating it, but it's a really, really awful and unethical way to manage a population of animals. So that is really talking about feral cats. We are focusing more on the domestic cats, so what we're calling owned, semi-owned and unowned community cats. When you're going out into those areas where cats are not relying on humans in any way, so right out into the bush, then that does require different management strategies. But no, that plan is not supported by pretty much all of the animal welfare sector in Australia. It's just a matter of how we are going to combat it now. So if anyone's got any good ideas, please let us know.
Great. Let me just check. Any other questions out there, folks? Get your questions in. I think everybody was finding it very interesting. And
they can always email me and jump on the website.
Yeah, the website, there are a couple of questions about the action plan, but I figure they can get those questions answered by looking at the website.
Yep, absolutely.
So
and then email me if there's any further questions.
Yep.